if necessary, to those bonds to give it its investment grade credit rating. Depending upon the pool, that may not even be needed if you have high quality cities pooling together. The issue there is, though, the IFA is not going to provide a buffer. So that in the events there are defaults and there's draws on that reserve fund, they're going to take their remedies. And they're going to go through the processes, the local process of either selling the taxes at tax sale or accelerating the loan and foreclosing on the property. So communities will have a choice. We will certainly recommend, I think the buffer is a way to go, but you don't have to go that way. And you can use the state model, which allows it to be free of any local government funding or credit support. I think, though, that if cities measure the economic impact, they'll find that the resulting tax receipts that they get are greater than any tax liability, cost liability they may face. Now, small, industrial, and commercial is a different story because, as Cody knows, imagine trying to get 20, 30 businesses all in the same pool, wanting the money at the same time, wanting to get, move the process along. And I'll be very interested to watch Boulders. There's a reason why Boulders, I've talked to the investment banker over there, there's a reason why that commercial program takes a little time to get off the ground. It's getting all those guys together at the same time. That's a very, to get the S&P, again, not 200, but it has a guideline for how many commercial borrowers you're supposed to have to get an investment grade rating. So you need to have...
How many is that, right?
I think it's in that 20, it's a ratio of the population, but, figure 20 plus, or, do you know, Cisco?
Yeah, it depends on the size of the business. And if you have a bunch of small businesses, then it looks more like a residential pool.
Right.
So it really also stated to depend on the size of the commercial entity as well.
Right. But again, the state has its moral obligation available through the IFA. So a single business, and there's many of them in this area, this county, these rural counties, can decide, okay, hey, I want to do a retrofit project, and it's whatever amount of dollars. They could, through what we hope will be what IFA wants to do, particularly because their mission is in the commercial and industrial area, they will look to pool several businesses and commercial property owners around the state and wrap them under one Illinois moral obligation wrap, give it an investment grade rating, and sell it out into the marketplace. So there we can do on a more on-demand basis based upon the size and scale of that commercial operator. Now we have the large rated companies. Champaign has a lot of large rated companies headquartered here, not headquartered, excuse me, with operations here. Our firm just recently served, one of our clients is Kraft. We recently served as a co-manager for Kraft recent $8 billion financing for the acquisition of Canterbury. That was an incredible deal. And you think $8 billion is a lot of money? Well, there was $20 billion in orders. I mean, there was $20 billion wanting to buy $8.5 billion in bonds. So that deal went very well. My boss has been in a great mood ever since. Great way to start the year. But Kraft has a large operation right here. So we'll be talking to Kraft because they could do an energy efficiency retrofit on their operations here in Chicago. And because they just took on about $9 billion, $10 billion in debt to buy Cadbury, they're not really saying, well, yeah, we could save money, but I don't really want to put any more debt on my balance sheet. We now have what we call a quasi off-balance sheet financing mechanism because this won't be debt on their balance sheet, it will be debt on the property. And so they could finance their improvements utilizing this mechanism and save on operating costs, save on energy costs. And again, what does that do? That helps people retain jobs, it helps companies make more money. So this works for both the large rated because then we can take they did it here, they did it in Chicago, maybe another operation in another county. We just take all three of those counties, pool them into one bond issue. We don't even need them all out for a crap. Crap, I believe was, and corporate ratings are really weird because FedEx, which is a strong company, BAA, but I think Craft came out around A. But we can do it based on their credit rating and place that debt. So it works for all aspects, residential, commercial, and large industrial companies. And that's why this special service area, kudos to Mr. Froelich for coming up with that.
But not the University of Illinois.
Well, no, the University of Illinois doesn't pay any property taxes.
Right.
So we've actually incorporated into the strategies. The University of Illinois just recently had a procurement process. Some of the strategies that they could use for leveraging their energy efficiency grants and accomplishing essentially the same thing.
Hey Craig,
Mhm.
we have about 10 minutes left. I'm
Okay.
wondering if we can open it up
Well,
for questions.
I want to finish this last part here because this is the numbers. It's important to understand. So for example, on a program, you could take $200,000 and we're taking grant funds. It could be seed money, it could be various, and you can either take that money and create a loan program on your own, or you could take $2 million, we can leverage that $200,000 into about $2 million of funded projects. Now, based on an assumption of a 15% average savings on per dollar spent into those households, you would have a savings of approximately $360,000 per year, and that $2 million in project, that $2.3 million in bond size is going to have roughly annual debt service of $200,000. And as you can see, the net savings is $160,000. So if you take that over, let's call it average loan size of $10,000. So you have 200 borrowers, you're going to save about, save some money. Now, this is just a very general scale, and as Brian will tell you, each individual house has its own, or each individual business has its own energy cost, energy savings portfolio. But this also includes, you get $600,000 in federal tax credits, up to, assuming you took a total of 30% of geothermal or solar. It scales down from there. Then again, that shows you again how you can not only do this project, save yourself money, but you can get upfront tax credit cash into your pocket. So that's just a general sense for you guys of how some of the numbers can work. And if you have any questions,